Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. Husband is having an affair and wants to divorce me after a happy marriage. My husband and I have a great relationship normally. We are best friends. We do many things together. We share the household responsibilities. We both have stable careers. We have inside jokes and even a sort of made-up language. I work really hard to try to be a good wife. Albeit, I am not perfect, however, I even started going to therapy 2 years ago to challenge myself. I cook, I clean, I work hard, I'm handy, I make lunches, I am generous and spoil him with things he likes, I like to host, I take care of myself and maintain my appearance, I let him do what he wants, go out with the boys, whatever. We have been together 8 years, married for 4 years. In 2020, he had an affair with his work colleague. He had spent several previous months talking to her and gaslighting me when I noticed a sudden shift in his communication with me and our relationship. One day he suddenly told me he wanted a divorce without any real explanation other than he doesn't love me anymore and he sees me as more of a best friend than a wife. He left that night to go stay with a friend and I had a nervous breakdown. After some time passed and some sleuthing, I figured out where he was staying and that he was with his affair partner. I confronted him about this. He was angry initially. He kept in contact with me and flip-flopped about coming home or staying with her. Eventually, I gave him an ultimatum, and he came home. We worked hard to repair our relationship, went to marriage counseling, and I never hung the affair over his head. I just wanted to move forward. He gave me all his passwords and said I could access his accounts when I wanted to, but I never bothered because it felt weird. As counseling went on, he was saying that he was happy, things were going really well, that he had been putting in the effort to recognize my love languages, which he had, and that I had been an understanding partner throughout. 2021 we had a pretty great year, and shared some memorable experiences. He started talking to me about wanting children, talked about names with me, bought baby items with me, and told me to make an app to get my IUD out. In September I worked out of town for 3 weeks, but we talked every day on the phone, shared pics, and texted. He continued to talk about kids until almost the end of November. At the beginning of DEC I noticed he started drinking more, gaming more, staying up way later, and seemed more distant than usual. I talked to him about it, and he said he might have sad. I let it go because he was going to see a psychiatrist to be diagnosed for whatever was going on with him. The psychiatrist diagnosed him with ADHD and Class B traits of bipolar and narcissistic personality disorder. We still had a decent December, but I was feeling the effects of his distance on my emotions. Eventually, on Boxing Day we were at a friend's house, his friend. His friend had been drinking and lost his ever-loving mind at me for a comment that did not warrant it. I started crying, and my husband sat idly by and did nothing to support me. When we got home I asked him why he didn't and he became defensive, saying that maybe he's not the kind of man I need. I immediately recognized these red flags and asked to see his phone. He pretended he couldn't find it at first, then got it and went to hand it to me but changed his mind and said actually, I'm setting a boundary, I'm not letting you see it, and pulled it back. I told him he had lost that privilege the last time he cheated on me. Sure enough, when I opened his phone, he was having a conversation with a girl and calling me his roommate. I questioned him about this and he admitted he had been talking to her since about the end of November/beginning of DEC and he knew her from his home city. I asked if they sexted and he said they had shared nudes with one another. I asked if they said they love each other, after 1 month of talking, and he said they had. I told him to cut her off if he wanted to work on our marriage again and he said he would. We started marriage counseling weekly instead of monthly. He told me he wanted to work on things with me and if he didn't he wouldn't be going to counseling. I confronted the other woman and she said I know what I'm doing and I don't give a fuck. Nice. He never cut the girl off, despite my boundary, which enraged me. His excuse was that it traumatized him to let people go. We separated but lived in the same home and he said he would go to therapy more for himself. Anyways, January 2022 goes by and we are still separated. He still attends weekly counseling with me. He insists he still wants to work on things. Then he makes plans to go to his home city. His parents bought him tickets with points and he said he's going for a month to heal and spend time with family. I asked him if he was planning to see his affair partner, who lives there. He said originally 100% he was, but that he would just not have any relationships including the break from ours. He left. About 4 days into his trip I get a scathing text message from him and then his partner there tells me when I reply he's busy. From there forward he flip-flopped about our relationship and continued to see this girl. About 7 days into his trip he announced he wanted a divorce and that he was moving back there. He applied for a job there and quit his government job here. He said he wanted to sell our house and try to do everything as cheap as possible. He then proceeded to block me and many mutual friends. Then he began posting about being in love with this girl on his stories, including today for Valentine's, and is clearly infatuated with her as he posts heart eye emojis on all her pictures. People see this and send it to me. To be clear, from what I have heard from people who know her and know me, she is an obvious downgrade both personality-wise and physical appearance, so that doesn't make sense. He seems to want to go through with the divorce, but hasn't put in any of the work to break down fees associated, get the house appraised, get a lawyer, anything. I have been dealing with it all. Anyways, I guess I just feel confused and hurt. I don't know why this is happening when we had a seemingly great marriage, and he was literally just talking to me about having kids. I know that he probably has a fair fog and feels a fair limerence, however, I wonder if he will ever change his mind or if this is really what he's going through with. Part of me knows I don't deserve this and part of me wants to work on things again. Here are some of the best comments from our community. You deserve so much better than this. Just imagine how great of a marriage you will have when you find a partner who cares about you and your feelings, instead of this man-child. Sorry to say, but the one in a fog is you. He is a cheater, gaslights and doesn't respect you, he is narcissist, he will only ever care about himself and this marriage never had a chance, let him go and start over. This man is not worth it, honey. Definitely not. He's already had 2 separate affairs in the past 2 years. Your marriage with this man isn't happy, it's a delusion. If he won't initiate the divorce, then you should. Get a shark of a lawyer and take him for everything you can. Do all this while he is still deep in the affair fog so he won't fight you too much. Protect yourself, talk to several good lawyers, also maybe get the IUD back. He is never going to change his ways. He is saying and doing the things you want to hear and see, but it's all smoke. Sorry you're in this, but stay strong. Stop playing the pick-me dance one, he will not stop cheating, he has already proven this, divorce him and find someone worthy of your love. He isn't it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell.